All right, let's get right into it. We're going to talk about how a simple, ancient weapon, a war bow, is so much more than just a tool for this character, Cillian. It is the physical manifestation of a really complex, kind of dangerous philosophy, the will to power.
So that brings us to this huge question, right? In our world, the world of guns, of forensics, how on earth does a guy with a piece of wood and a string become one of the most effective killers of the 20th century? I mean, it sounds crazy. But the answer? Well, it lies in basically rejecting the modern world entirely.
Just look at this contrast for a second. Your typical modern hitman, they leave a trail. There are shell casings, ballistic reports, a loud noise. They're part of a system that's designed to track them. But Cillian, with his warbow, he's completely off the grid. He's silent, he leaves no trace, he's a ghost. That ancient weapon is what makes him totally invisible to modern eyes. So, let's dig into that. How does this weapon from the deep past give him such an edge today? This is what we're calling the anachronistic weapon. Get this, a modern archery enthusiast, someone really into it, might get off 4 shots a minute. Cillian, though, with his medieval warbow, is hitting what the source material calls 12 kills a minute. This isn't just a sport for him. This is a military-grade skill, a level of violent discipline that our world has completely forgotten and has no idea how to handle.
But why? What drives someone to do this? And to understand that, we have to get into the philosophy behind the man. We need to talk about the will to power. This is where we go from what he does to why he does it. And believe me, it gets deep.
Okay, so at the absolute core of his whole mindset is this Nietzschean idea called master morality. Now, in this way of thinking, good isn't what we think it is. It's not about being kind or fair. Good is just power. It's strength. It's the will to go out and take what you want. And bad? Bad is just weakness. It's being unable to act.
The best way to think about this is the lion and the sheep. Slave morality, that's the morality of the herd, of most of us, is like the sheep. It values things like humility and kindness because, that keeps the flock together and safe. But master morality? That's the lion. The lion doesn't hate the sheep. It just doesn't care. It operates on a whole different level, where its own strength is the only thing that matters.
And what's the engine driving this lion? It's the will to power. This is this fundamental internal drive, not just to stay alive, but to crush obstacles, to grow stronger, to dominate your surroundings, and, this is the key part, to dominate yourself. This is the force behind everything Cillian does.
So you're probably thinking, okay, big philosophy, but how does that connect to a bow and arrow? Well, it all boils down to one thing: self-mastery.
This quote really nails it. Think about it. A gun is a machine. It's an equalizer. Anyone can pull a trigger. But a warbow, that is a pure extension of your own strength, your own will, your own discipline. Using it is a rejection of modern convenience. It takes a kind of power that the average person, the herd, just can't achieve.
And if you want a number to really feel that power, we're talking about a draw weight of over 100 pounds. To put that in perspective, a modern hunting bow is usually somewhere between 50, maybe 70 pounds. This thing isn't just a weapon. It's a physical testament to a lifetime of absolutely brutal, focused self-discipline.
And that's the absolute crux of it. When Cillian is at the range, he's not just practicing for a fight. He's practicing what Nietzsche called self-overcoming. He's taking all that force and turning it inward to master his own nature, to control every single impulse. That range is his sanctuary, for sure, but it's also the forge where he shapes his own soul.
But his mastery doesn't end with just being good at shooting. Cillian becomes something else. Part engineer, part alchemist. He starts forging a hybrid weapon from modern world.
And this is where things get really wild. He's not just a master of an old weapon, he's an inventor. He takes the know-how of a 12th century blacksmith and smashes it together with 1970s industrial materials. The result is something entirely new and, frankly, terrifying.
So how does he pull this off? It's basically 3 key upgrades. First, he takes spring steel, like from a car's leaf spring, and laminates it to the wood with modern epoxy. Suddenly, his bow can parry a sword. Second, he uses his money, his gold, to weight the handle, turning the bow itself into a brutal mace for when things get up close and personal. And finally, he caps the tips with hardened steel so he can use it to pike and thrust like a spear. It's not a bow anymore, it's a 3-in-1 weapon system. And the way he uses this is just chillingly smart. He doesn't just go after anyone, he targets officers, leaders, to create chaos that he can then exploit.
He literally melts his wealth down to make his weapon more effective. He's taking an ancient skill and using it to solve modern tactical problems. This is his master morality in bloody action.
But of course, this kind of power, this kind of mastery, it always comes with a price. By building this fortress of skill, he ends up trapped inside it, completely alone. So what's the ultimate cost of a life like this?
With his skills, Cillian reaches what Nietzsche considered the final stage, the sovereign individual. This is someone who is so far beyond the herd that their rules, their laws, their morals, they just don't apply anymore. He's not breaking the law, he is the law.
But here's the tragic irony. In achieving that absolute freedom, he becomes a prisoner of his own independence. His power makes it impossible for him to trust anyone, to connect with anyone. He is completely, totally alone in a prison he built himself. And so that bow, it becomes the ultimate symbol of this paradox. It's the tool that gave him everything he ever wanted: power, money, survival. But it's also the very same tool that guarantees he'll always be an outsider, a ghost in the machine, forever alone. The source material leaves us with this incredible, haunting image. Cillian's mastery is like walking across a bridge made of a single razor-thin wire. He is the only one with the skill to cross it, but that also means he will always be standing on it alone. He reached the absolute pinnacle of power only to find out it's the loneliest place in the entire world.